This episode of the Coarse Grind Podcast has been brought to you by Central Sports and Graphics Incorporated, family-owned and operated screen printing and embroidery business located in a historic storefront on Old Berwick Road in the heart of Espy. They've been doing screen printing for over 20 years. They have high-quality product at a low price. Be sure to check them out. Central Sports and Graphics Incorporated, 570-784-1212. Now, on to the show.
Hello, this is Felicia Keith Jones from Highmark Distillery, Master Distiller, and you are on the Coarse Grind Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Episode number 181 of the Coarse Grind Podcast with you again this evening. Host, creator, Sean Rossler. How is everyone doing this evening? You know, as the holidays approach, it's easy to get a little slowed down, right? You bog down with everything around you. Did I get the right thing for that person? Who's bringing what to the party? And how in God's name am I supposed to get all my work done before I take a holiday break? It can be overwhelming, right? But let's do some visualization. Let's picture us by a fire, by an open fire. Roasting, but not chestnuts. No, let's go brisket. Let's do some duck. Let's smoke anything we want on that fire or even on that grill. But before we do that, let's talk again with someone who can help us down that path. Someone very knowledgeable. I won't bog us down with the prolific, long-winded intro he so richly deserved some 50 or so episodes ago. Yes, it's 50. It's unbelievable. Tonight's guest is the man who reinvented modern barbecue. He's now authored 32 books, including most notably Project Smoke, How to Grill, Planet Barbecue, and Project Fire. Some of these are also shows, yes. 5 Beard Awards, 3 Julia Childs, content spanning 17 different languages. He's written for the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and Esquire, and was inducted into the Barbecue Hall of Fame in 2015. His shows are even international, with I almost said his name, Grills Italy, broadcast on Gambero Rosso in Italy. Oh, by the way, let's not forget, he's the founder of Barbecue University at Broadmoor Resort and has lectured on the history of barbecue at Harvard, the Library of Congress, and the Smithsonian. So if you're thinking of roasting anything over an open fire this holiday season, I'm thinking by now you see why this would be the guy to have show you how. And I'm sure it makes sense why I personally couldn't wait to get him back on. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, my guest this evening, author, journalist, lecturer, TV host, and living icon legend, the Steven Raichlen. How's it going, bud?
It is going great. What a magnificent introduction. Thank you.
Well, it's magnificent because you are magnificent, sir. And when I saw all your travels, I thought, what a wonderful time to pick up and to catch up. So here we are doing the do again. We'll go through a little bit of intro, but I really want to get down to what it is you're doing. Folks new to the program, folks with terrible short-term memories like yours truly, starters, mains, and afters. Starters, we're going to talk about where the guest in question came from. Mains, we're going to talk about what they're doing now. And afters, a little bit more irreverent, a little bit more off the cuff, but no one has been seriously physically injured in 180 episodes, so I don't see that happening tonight. Without further ado, Steven Raichlen, welcome back. We did the intro thing before. A quick summary, if listeners choose not to go back and listen to the first episode that you were on with, where and what did the modern master of grilling grow up eating?
Oh boy. Well, we were not a grilling family very much. Our family grill master was actually a grill mistress, my mother, who used to cook steaks, what we would call Pittsburgh rare, that is cinder black on the outside and the heart still beating inside. But I largely grew up on TV dinners, so I think my food writing career was a matter of self-defense and revenge.
I hear that. So, you know, Mom was a grill mistress, rather. How about other culinary influences coming up? Who really kind of pushed you in this direction, would you say?
Well, I always loved food, always loved cooking. I have very early memories when I was sort of 7, 8, waiting for my parents to get out of the house so I could pull out a skillet and start cooking myself. I grew up in a Ashkenazi Jewish family, so my aunts and my great aunts were fantastic cooks. On the other side, I had a Sephardic aunt who was also a great cook, but of a different style. So I was exposed to good food, but I would say I don't know where the interest came from, but I've always loved and been fascinated by food.
I've joked on the show before. If you met my parents, and you saw what they eat, and then you met me, you would have a profound question mark over the statement. So I feel like we can relate there, sir. So to that end, maybe you didn't have that influence, but when was it you knew that this was going to be your path? What was it that made Steven Raichlen become Steven Raichlen, living legend of grilling?
Well, after I graduated college, I won a Watson Foundation Fellowship to study, of all things, medieval cooking in Europe. Tom Watson founded IBM. These were fellowships for a year's independent study abroad. And I started my studies in Paris, lived and worked all over Europe, and really spent the year exploring the intersection of food and history and culture. And in some sense, I've been doing that ever since. I wanted to become a food writer, so when I moved back to the States, I became the restaurant critic for Boston Magazine, then the wine and spirits editor for GQ Magazine. At one point, my mentor said to me, Stephen, you'll never make a living writing cookbooks, so the gauntlet was thrown down, and that was it.
I remember that from our first talk. I remember that being like, okay, if you tell me I can, I'm going to show you I can.
Exactly.
So, what a great story. And here you are today. So, hey, folks, I know that was encapsulated, but we've got more important things to get to here today. So if you want to listen, go back. It's in the 120s. I forget the number exactly, but it's out there in the episode log. So you've been a very busy human being, sir. First, and let's push this one out there. A new Heat and Eat barbecue line. So for folks just now meeting Steven, anything you could possibly want to know about grilling, barbecue, and all that, this is your guy. And so finally, we have a Heat and Eat to basically try Steven's recipes in our homes without having to make them. We just simply heat them, plan a barbecue. Tell us a little bit about that Heat and Eat line and how that came to be.
Well, the way it came to be was very simple. I've always tried to share my passion for barbecuing and grilling and how I do it myself. So first I did it with books, and then to kind of bring you even closer, I do it on television. And then to bring you even closer, I created a line of barbecue rubs and sauces. I created a barbecue university, which is now at the Montage Palmetto Bluff in South Carolina. All for me to have ways to share my food with people. But people can never have the experience of dining at my house and having a brisket come out of my smoker. Yeah. So about a year ago, I created a company called Planet Barbecue. That's also the name of one of my books, a book about grilling and barbecue around the world. And the idea was that we would prepare brisket and ribs and grilled cream corn and baked beans and other dishes based on my recipes, made with my seasonings, that you could order online through a company called Crowd Cow. It's like crowdsourcing and cows like cowboys, Crowd Cow. And you order these foods and you can taste it. You heat them up either on your grill or in your oven, and you are tasting what you would have if you came to Steven Raichlen's house for dinner.
Okay, so that's the big thing I got to ask, and I don't mean to be a cynic, but I've been burned by this before. Clearly, you've given it your blessing because you've tried it. Like, even after, being packaged, how close is it to the real deal?
It's pretty darn close.
I love that.
I would say it's virtually indistinguishable. And I do have a couple of secret weapons, so I'm not alone in this venture. My stepson, Jake, is a partner, and the former food and beverage manager of the Broadmoor Resort in Colorado Springs is a partner. So we have people on the ground tasting this stuff. I mean, it's very much a family affair.
I love that. I love every single piece of that. And again, it's funny. I'll pull the curtain back a little bit for folks listening at home. I had to email Steven and say, hey, listen, could I grab 30 more minutes? Because I've got to run. I've got a kid in a new sport and this, that, the other thing. So Heat and Eat is very much a currency in this household. And to have it be quality, to have it be Steven Raichlen quality is unbelievable. We love that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's carry on Steven Raichlen's busy schedule and talk about Star Grill by Steven Raichlen Restaurants. Notice the S, not just one, but across the entire Windstar cruise line. Obviously it's picking up. Tell us a little bit about what that looks like. It's a Steven Raichlen presence on a cruise line. How did that come to be?
The amazing thing about barbecue in my career is you never know. Every time the phone rings, every time my email pings, it could be some interesting new opportunity I never dreamt of. Such was the case 3 years ago before COVID, when I got a call from the food and beverage manager of the Windstar line. Now, cruise lines these are very small ships. They carry between 150 and 300 passengers, and there are only six ships in the line. So,
Okay.
we're not talking about these mega yachts with 5,000 people on board. But the idea was to create an outdoor space where people could have global grilling and barbecue on the ships. And they contacted me, and, I thought that was a pretty interesting venture.
Yeah.
So on the menu there, you will find my food, my recipes. I've been on board to train the chefs. I go on the ships frequently to taste and inspect the food, make sure it's up to snuff. And it's funny you should mention it, because the first menu was pretty heavily American barbecue. We had brisket, we had ribs, pastrami. We had a few ethnic dishes like a Jamaican jerk pork.
Mm-hmm.
But this next year's menu, which I will launch in January, will be much more international. And, I'm thinking Thai satay, I'm thinking Argentinian asado, I'm thinking Indian tandoori. Because the ship travels all over, and for me, my domain is Planet Barbecue. It's really the whole world of grilling. I can't even imagine how many miles I've logged traveling the world, but I visited over 75 countries on 6 continents, to write about barbecue and grilling. So, the ship, in a way, is it's just a translation of what I'm passionate about.
That's incredible. And again, I've been on a couple cruises, and truth be told, part of what I love about it is the cuisine, bigger cruise ships, whatever. I love the fact that it's on Windstar, that it's maybe a smaller scale, more intimate, and because barbecue, as you told us before, tends to be intimate. It's people gathered around a fire enjoying that end product. And so
absolutely,
why not put it on the water? Why not put fire on the water? There it is.
Fire on the water. There you go. You might have just given me a new name for we have an episode in the new show, the new Project Fire show, called Fire Meets Water, but Fire on the Water is even better. So.
Fire on the water. It's better than smoke on the water, as they say. See what I did there? That's a music reference, kids. That's so awesome. And honestly, that would make me want to go on a Windstar cruise. Like, if for nothing else, I don't care where we're going. We're getting Steven Raichlen food. I'm in. Like, show me the way. And I love the fact that you're going international because, again, cruise lines go international, and it makes sense. So, next stop, off ramp, if you will. This one, I know we kind of teased back in your first episode, but now it's official. Now it's out there. How to grill vegetables. We were a little bit covert when we first spoke about it, but clearly it's there. It wasn't going to be vegetarian, but vegetable forward. I love that. What was, again, your inspiration for it? Because I know we touched on it, but now that it's there, now that it's a thing, like, tell us more about the inspiration and how's it being received? What are people thinking?
Well, once again, it's one of those matter of self-defense books. My daughter is vegetarian. My wife is quasi-vegetarian. But, the truth is I love vegetables, and all of my books have very long vegetable chapters. And grilled vegetables, if you sort of start to think about it, it's not kind of a one-size-fits-all. If you think about grilling a steak, the method is pretty much the same for most steaks, but every vegetable requires a different grilling method. Some prosper at a high heat, some prosper from low indirect heat, some can be grilled directly in the embers. The other thing is that I think we're all eating more plant foods now. Even diehard carnivores are eating more plant foods. The vegetable entrees at barbecue restaurants have become much more interesting and important. The book is being very well received. It's it was a challenging book to write and publish because I turned in the manuscript the second week of the COVID lockdown.
Oh, man.
The photo session was done during COVID lockdown on a safe photo set with everybody wearing masks and standing 6 feet apart from one another. The book tour was a virtual book tour this year. Mm-hmm. So COVID has definitely posed some challenges, but at the same time, I have never had a stronger year in terms of book sales, I guess, because so many people are cooking at home now.
Well, I see, and I was going to ask you that exact thing. Like, I know we've talked off air, and, you know my love for the art. I actually had a tribute recipe for brisket published in a local magazine. I love doing this. And I noticed as soon as COVID took off, my maker urges took over. It was, what can I make here? What can I do? And the podcast started the hot sauce line, and I'm pretty sure I sent you the recipe from a smoked hot sauce. Like, what a pompous thing to do. Here's Steven Raichlen. Enjoy my little podcast hot sauce. But it really, people turned inwards and people turned into their craft. And so what better way? And I realized after I asked you, how is it received? It's a Steven Raichlen cookbook. How else is it going to be received? But amazingly.
Well, never like to assume anything, but
fair enough.
Right, okay.
Fair enough. So, How to Grill Vegetables, obviously available out on pretty much anywhere, Amazon, etc.
Bookstores, Amazon, wherever, and through my website, which is barbecuebible.com.
Barbecuebible.com.
BarbecueBible.com. Right.
Love that. Yep. So again, out there with the other 31 lonely books, Steven. Not to toot your own horn, but I'll take care of that for you. I gotta save my favorite for last, simply because in the evening, after I'm running around doing sports and pickups and doing interviews with literal icons in the culinary landscape, sometimes I like to sit down, unplug, and just watch TV. Project Fire 2022, St. Louis. I love this because obviously I'm going to assume, I know we don't like to assume, but I'm going to assume here that obviously that's a tie-in to the local barbecue scene that is specific to St. Louis.
And it is a very specific barbecue scene. It's one of the only places in the world where you find the pork steak, where you find snoots, which are barbecued pig snouts, and where you find turkey ribs. And we actually had a local pit mistress named Earlene who came on and cooked turkey ribs for us. So that was definitely a first on my side, and I think it will be a first for many viewers. But most of our shows have been done in rural settings, very pastoral, quiet. We wanted to shake things up a little bit and cook in an urban setting this time. So our set was the Grand Old Union train station in downtown St. Louis. At one time, it was the largest train station in the United States.
Oh,
beautiful arched building. Today, it's an amusement park and an aquarium and a mall and an entertainment center, and it was really fun to tape there.
I love that. So when can folks expect to see that drop?
The show will be out in May of 2022.
May 2022. I'm going to write that down. I'm no longer writing on our script. I'm writing on my planner, just so I know to have nothing else to do but watch that when the time comes. So turkey ribs. Before we move on, my curiosity is absolutely piqued. What is a turkey rib? I know what it is physically, but
it's actually the clavicle of the turkey, and I suppose so many turkey breasts are kind of stripped off the carcass and then turned into roasts. So if you leave some meat on the clavicle and you cut it in a long finger shape, it becomes a turkey rib.
I love that. That makes a lot of sense. Again, stepping outside of your local scene and not assuming you know everything, that makes total sense. So there it is, Project Fire 2022 St. Louis season, airing May 2022. So, that's all the news that's fit to print with where you've been traveling. And we talked about where you came from, a couple little indulgences, if you will, with the afters again. Let's see how you matched up with what you said the first time around. Steven, if you and I were grilling and you had control of Pandora or Spotify or whatever whatever playlist was running, what would we be listening to?
Well, right now we would be listening to a song called 99 Luftballons, 99 Balloons, by Nina Hagen.
Nina Hagen, and
a punk rocker from Germany in the 1990s.
Absolutely.
And she's just driving rhythm. And Angela Merkel, the Prime Minister of Germany, who's about to step down, is going to have Nina Hagen play at her farewell ceremony. So that's why I got that on the brain.
Oh my God, how amazing is that?
Do you know that song, Sean?
So I know that song, and here's why I know it as a punk myself. As a ska musician, actually, I know a band named Goldfinger, and Goldfinger did a cover of 99 Luftballons, 99 Red Balloons, whatever you want to call it, which then caused me to look back and listen to Nina's version, and I'm like, wow, this is really, it's first of all, Goldfinger didn't miss a step when they covered it. They did it their own way, and it's just a great song. I love it. So, absolutely, I would be okay cooking alongside. First of all, I'd be okay cooking alongside Steven Raichlen regardless. But if we're listening to Nina, that's totally fine too. Next one, the deserted island question. We're gonna strand you on a deserted island. You can only bring 3 foods or food type items with you. What would they be and why?
Extra virgin olive oil would be 1.
Check.
Lemon would be 2.
Check.
Chili peppers would be 3.
I love it. And that's exactly what you answered first pass. So if anything, Steven Raichlen is consistent. Of course he is. He's making heat and eat dinners, people. Listen up. Let's talk last suppers. Again, if your ticket's getting punched tomorrow, what would you want your last meal to be?
I'm sad to say it is not barbecue. It would be Maryland steamed crabs. That's what I grew up on in Baltimore, and to me, that is the most exquisite food on the planet.
That is also a match. And finally, sir, what is food to you in a single word?
Pleasure.
And also a match. Good Lord, Steven Raichlen, you are, as promised, as delivered, as awesome as I remember. Thank you so much for taking some time with us this evening to talk.
Well, thank you, Sean. You do a great job. Really appreciate it.
I love it. He flatters me every time on the way out, and I have to collect myself as I'm trying to do the wrap up. Steven Raichlen, ladies and gentlemen, you can find him on Planet Barbecue on your local PBS affiliate. Project Smoke, rather, not Planet Barbecue. Planet Barbecue, the Heat and Eat dining line is going to be available via Crowd Cow. The new season of Project Smoke is going to be available.
Project Fire, actually, if I may.
Project Fire, my bad. My apologies. See, I got this. I got smoke, I got fire, and I got barbecue on the brain. That's not a bad place to be, though. Project Fire, May 22, St. Louis season, How to Grill Vegetables, available Amazon, anywhere you can buy your fine books. He's out on Facebook. He's out on the Insta. He's all over the place. Steven Raichlen, always a pleasure, sir.
Thank you. Great talking to you.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode number 181 of the Coarse Grind Podcast. With me again this evening, the living culinary barbecue icon, the Steven Raichlen himself. Our producer, as always, has been Johnny Leland Robinson, a.k.a. the Reverend Johnny Lamoria. Be sure to check out all his libertarian cinematic and artistic happenings in the 18431. Next episode will be number 182. You won't want to miss it. Stay tuned. Are you passing through central Pennsylvania and looking for one of the best dining experiences and craft brew menus around? Look no further. Turkey Hill Brewing Company and 991 Central Road in Bloomsburg, PA has everything you could ask for and then some. Service, food, beer together. Unbelievable. Be sure to check them out. Call them today for reservations. 570-387-8422. Call today.